if you're coming to the US to do your PhD, depending on the program, and I need to emphasize on this, for the most part, you would not need a master's degree to apply for the PhD program. And so this may sound strange to some people, especially from my part of the world, where the academic ladder is BSc, Masters, PhD, right? But in the US, it's PhD, it's BSc, Masters if you like, and PhD. So you can jump from BSc directly to PhD without doing any masters, and that was my route. That was my journey. I graduated undergrad in 2019 and I applied directly to the PhD program in the US, and I got in. I did not have a master's degree at the time, and the reason for that is PhD programs in the US are not just PhD programs. They like a combination of masters and PhD, right? A combo. That's why it's 5 years and not 3 years or 4 years, as you would find in other countries, say UK, for example. Opportunities that there's a lot of them in the US. In the US, scholarships are not government based; they are institution based, and so that's the first thing. And second thing is that the US PhD program more funded than master's program. Right. So the US focuses more when it comes to scholarship, distributing scholarships. The US focuses more PhD programs, PhD students, and master students. So for the most part, if you are coming to the US to do your masters, there is a low chance of getting a fully funded scholarship to do your masters. And I'm not saying it's not there. I'm not saying it's not gonna happen. I'm just saying it's just the chances are low. There are people that are doing their masters on scholarship, fully funded scholarship, but there is like times 10 of that are doing their scholarship on partial scholarships, and there's like times 10 of that are doing their masters on like zero scholarship whatsoever. You're spending 1 or 2 years, a year and a half or 2 years to get a master's degree. So they feel like the commitment is not there, and they see no reason why they should invest on you. You're just getting a scholarship, so you're just getting a master's. So if you get your master's, you probably just go on to get a job and stuff. So there's no return on investment, if you like, when it comes to master's degree. For the university, they tend to shift their attention to PhD programs, people that are going to spend 5 years of their life doing research, trying to produce academic materials to the world, So that's why if you're trying to apply to the US, you need to have that in mind. Are you going to apply for a master's degree, or are you going to apply for a PhD degree? Now, there's a subtext to that. When you're asking that question, because it's a very important question, the subtext to that is, which brings me to like the third thing you need to know, is that PhD programs in the US, a lot of them do not require master's degree. Right? So this may sound strange to some people, especially from my part of the world, where the academic ladder is BSc, Masters, PhD, right? But in the US, it's PhD, it's BSc, Masters if you like, and PhD. So you can jump from BSc directly to PhD without doing any masters, and that was my route. That was my journey. I graduated undergrad in 2019 and I applied directly to the PhD program in the US, and I got in. I did not have a master's degree at the time, and the reason for that is PhD programs in the US are not just PhD programs. They like a combination of masters and PhD, right? A combo. That's why it's 5 years and not 3 years or 4 years, as you would find in other countries, say UK, for example. If you're coming to the US to do your PhD, depending on the program, and I need to emphasize on this, for the most part, you would not need a master's degree to apply for the PhD program. Some PhD programs in humanities might ask you for a master's degree and say no. I mean, we know like you need to have a BSc, but in this department, we want you to have an MSc degree as well before you can apply for whatever reason. But for the most part, with your BSc, you can get into a PhD program in the US. So with that said, PhD programs are more fully funded than master's program. It would make sense that people that are coming from developing countries that do not have a way to support their education in the US might feel more attracted to PhD programs than master's programs, because PhD programs are fully funded and master's programs really not fully funded. So that's why you see like a lot of people doing their PhD, you know, at a very, very young age. For example, me, because I got into my PhD program when I was I think I was 21 or something. Now I think I'm 24 or something. I can't remember. Because you may not need a master's, but like having a master's degree is very good. It's a bonus, you know. It shows that you have an experience over other people. It's a competition, right? You're applying to the program that has a lot of people from all over the world applying to the same program. You need everything that can give you an advantage over other candidates as to why they should select you for the program. If you have a master's degree, that's going to help, you know, because other people may not have a master's degree. But if you don't, but if you have a master's degree, that's not a guarantee that you're going to get in. There's so many other requirements, right? And also like subtle, I won't say requirements, I would say addendum, something like that, if that word works, can help you, you know, get an admission when other people are not getting admission, right? Okay, let me give you an example. So when I applied to my PhD program at UT Dallas, there's like 300 people. No, sorry. There was 113 people that applied to the program. 113 people that applied to the program. And out of 113 people, department selected, I think 13 or 15. No, it was 118 people that applied. The department selected 13 people for the program. So that means 5 people, I believe, did not get into the program. 105 people were not selected for the program. So it's a competition. That's what I'm trying to say. Because it's a competition, you need everything you can put forward, you know, to give you a competitive edge over, you know, other candidates. And so even having a master's degree is going to do that for you. Go for it. Go get a master's degree, then apply, right? But, you know, just so you know that, you know, you do not need a master's degree to be able to apply for a PhD in the US. A master's degree definitely helps you, right? So it's a competition. You need to understand that. Now, so if you want to apply, what are the requirements? You know, how do you start? What should you put in place? Especially, you know, like it's also department based, also program based. If you're not in STEM, and you are, STEM means like science, math, technology, and engineering, and mathematics. So if you're not in any of this field, you can get a little, I think some people may have heard that non-STEM programs are usually disadvantaged when it comes to scholarship opportunities in the US. That might be true to an extent, but I've seen a lot of people that are not STEM, that are doing art, they are doing economic, etc., and they are getting fully funded scholarship to do a PhD program in sociology, blah blah. In the US, there is opportunities for non-STEM as well. PhD, no masters. Masters, no, not so much, but PhD, yes, definitely. There might be a little fewer opportunities that are available for STEM programs, right? People that are doing microbiology, biochemistry, zoology, botany, blah 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 blah, agriculture, science, engineering, computer science, mathematics. There's a lot of opportunity. Chemistry, especially chemistry. chemistry students are the luckiest, right? I don't know. There's so many scholarship opportunity for chemistry students, but in that hierarchy, it's just depending on where the funding comes in the most. It's also based on grants that this department can get from the government, determine how many students they can take in and whether or not you can be one of them. So if they're able to take in like 20 students or 22, 25 students, and there's higher chances that you're going to be one of them. But it doesn't matter whether STEM or non-STEM. There are opportunities in the US. You just have to know how to find them. So how can you find these opportunities? That's what I'm going to be talking about in the next podcast, episode 3 of this series. But I think I've been able to kind of give you some details that most people don't know about, scholarship opportunities all around the world. That there's a lot of them in the US. They are not government sponsored, and they are institution sponsored, right, inside. And PhD programs are more funded. Master's programs are not that funded in the US. Then that PhD program, you do not need a master's degree to get into a PhD program in the US, with a few exceptions. So I think that's pretty much, not all of it, definitely like 50 or 30% of what you need to know, an overview of what you need to know about scholarship opportunities in the US, some kind of introduction. At this point, I'm going to, so if you want to know like more detail all at once, I'm going to recommend my book. I wrote a book. It's titled Greener Pasture: How to Secure Fully Funded Scholarship to Pursue Masters and PhD in the US. It's available in both in print and in ebook format on Amazon, on Roving Heights for those that are in Nigeria, and on Okada Books for those that are in Nigeria. If you want to get a copy, there are links below in the description. You can check out the book. It's comprehensive. It's a guidebook, step by step, on what you need to know about scholarship opportunities in the US, how to apply, samples for recommendation, statement of purpose for CV, with personal and all of this information in the book, about visa as well, about cold emailing professors. So I'm going to be talking about all of these things on the channel, sometime later, but I would definitely recommend you to get the book. It has everything written down, and you can always go back to it to check it out. Definitely check out the link in the section below, and you can also visit muneeryaqub.com. I have a website where you can find information about the book if you are interested. I would recommend that you check it out. You'll find it helpful. I spent 2 months writing it, so I published it last year. You definitely find it helpful. I think I covered pretty much what I want to cover. I'm gonna come back here on the next episode to talk about, I said I was going to talk about something and I forgot. But I will see you on the next episode, whatever comes to my mind. But it's definitely going to be a continuation of this conversation, about scholarship opportunities in the US. So I'll see you on the next video. Subscribe, click the subscribe button, click the like button, turn on notification and share this video to people that are interested leaving your country and coming to any part of the world to get their advanced degree, right, to secure a scholarship. Because we're going to be talking, I'm going to be bringing in scholars even to talk to you about scholarship, how their scholarship journey and what they did, how they did it, etc. So it's a very interesting podcast, right? So I would encourage you to share this with your friends, your colleagues that might also be interested in this, and also hit the like button, subscribe button, and I will see you on the next video. I guess bye. Hello guys, welcome back to my podcast, Scholarship Hotspot with Muneer Yaqub. Today I want to kind of talk about scholarship opportunities in the US, specifically in the US. Kind of give you an overview for advanced degrees like masters and PhD, how they work in the US. Regardless of where you're coming from, whether you're coming from Africa, you're coming from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, etc. How scholarship works, in the US, especially for international students. I'm gonna begin talking about a few things that I think people don't know. Most people, especially, don't know about scholarship in the US and in general, even. And you see, these information, they are very, very important in how you decide and what kind of decisions you make when you're trying to apply, and eventually they go in whether or not you're going to get an admission or whether or not you're going to get that scholarship at the end of the day. So the first information, how PhD works in the US versus in other countries like the UK, like Germany, Japan, etc. I want you guys to know this, right? Anyone that wants to apply for scholarships anywhere in the world, that the US actually has more scholarships. If you watch my previous podcast, the first one that I did, scholarships in the US are the most abundant scholarships in the world, right? US has the most scholarship graduate student in the world, and the reason for that is that scholarships in the US are not usually government sponsored, they are university sponsored, right? It's a very, very important detail that most people miss when they're trying to apply for scholarship. So people will come to me and say, please, I want to apply for scholarship, please send me a link. I'm like, well, you don't need a link, because that's not how it works, right? There's no link. There is just schools. There's like about 3,000 graduate schools in the US, and all of them, not all of them actually, most of them, they have some kind of package for grad students that are doing advanced degrees in their school. So that's how they're able to fund you, because they kind of believe that if the grad school, of course, is about research. So if they want you to come do research, then you would need full focus, 100% concentration and commitment and dedication. To be able to do that, you don't have to worry about money. And that's where scholarship comes in, right? In the US, these scholarships are not provided by the government. They're actually provided by the institution you're going to, right? So how much money the institution and how many students they can cater for in a session will determine how many students they're going to take in and whether or not you're going to be among them. Does that make sense? Right? No government, the US government does not have like a central scholarship. There's one called Fulbright scholarship, but it has its own, like it's a different thing entirely. But for the most part, most scholarships are going to be coming up institution-based scholarships, right? So that's the first thing. And if you compare that to like UK, Canada, I think Canada has the same system as well. Yeah, usually university-based scholarship. But if you go to the UK like programs like Chevening Scholarship, Commonwealth, Mastercard scholarship is not specific to the US. It's also like, I think it's like a group of country that come together to. So Mastercard you can apply for a Mastercard scholarship with a Mastercard scholarship and go to South Africa, for example, or Canada, or US, or UK. So I will still put it in that category because it's big on the UK. Most people that have like Mastercard scholarship usually go to the UK. Of course, why would you go to South Africa? The majority of the government-sponsored scholarships in the UK are Chevening and Commonwealth scholarship. The UK university, a few of them, very few of them, institution-based scholarships, like department-based scholarship. Very few of them. When I say very few, I mean very few. And I know I have a friend in Cambridge that got a scholarship for his master's and PhD. So I would say those are the exceptions, right? So if you know your way around, you can apply to a school and get them to sponsor your education 100%. But if you're applying directly to a university in the UK, 90% of the time, or 98%, even 95%, okay, let's be fair, they're going to give you a partial scholarship and expect you to pay the rest, and that rest depends on the school you want to apply to, right? So the rest of the tuition can be like 10,000 euros, 15,000 euros, and if you can afford it, fine. Some people can afford it, and you go. Well, most people I know do not and cannot afford it. So that's why the US actually is a preferred 100% fully funded scholarship. But there's also another scholarship program I forgot to mention. It's not specific to the UK. It's a European scholarship. It's called Erasmus Mundus scholarship in Europe, right? Erasmus Mundus scholarship is like the most prestigious master's program, I don't know, maybe in the world, because it's very cool in the sense that every student gets to spend a semester in different universities, but not in the same city, in different cities across Europe, right? So I have a friend that started in like Paris, or Paris in French. Started in Paris, then they went to Berlin, and then they came back to London. So they spent a semester in each of these cities. That's so nice. Like you can't have it better than that. So you get to travel all across Europe and study in different universities, acclimatizing to the different cultures, etc. It's so nice. It's so dope. And they pay a lot as well for students. Those are government sponsored scholarships. There's also another one. If you watch my first video, in Japan, MEXT scholarship, MEXT scholarship in Japan. It's for postgraduate studies and undergraduate studies, which is very cool. And there's one in Germany, DAAD scholarship, DAAD scholarship. So those scholarships are there. They're government sponsored. Like the embassy is going to, tell you like, yeah, we're actually funding the scholarship. We want students from your country to come to our country and come and get our education and improve our economy somehow. And so some programs will actually require that you return to your home country, especially those in UK. Those programs in UK, Chevening scholarship, Commonwealth scholarship, after a master's degree, they expect you to start going back to your home country, which, to be honest to ourselves, most Nigerians don't want to, because most Nigerians just want to leave their country and go and go and settle down in the UK. So if you're asking them to go back to Nigeria, I don't think anyone wants that. But I mean, some people just want to get the experience and go back to their country, and that's fine, right? Some people don't want to. They want a better life for themselves, and that's fine as well. But but people actually go for purely for educational purposes, and that's why they go and study. So whatever they want to do afterwards, it's everyone's business, right? So that's for government sponsored scholarship. But in the US, it's slightly different. In fact, it's a lot different in the US. In that scholarships are institution based, like I mentioned earlier. So each university has their own their own requirement or giving people money to come and study in their university. So the US government does not have like a central scholarship program, because that will be limiting. But because each university is taking in students and giving scholarships, so there's just under like 3,000 graduate schools, maybe like 2,000 of them have the capacity to give scholarships for advanced degree. So a lot of students get to come. From different parts of the world. So US is like, it's just the best place for scholarship. Except there's just one difference is that in the US, scholarship is great, except they don't pay for your flight unless you've gotten here, right? Because they want to, like, it's some scholarship, those government sponsored scholarship, because you're dealing directly with the embassy, so they have the ability to get you to their country on them, right? So you don't have to pay for your flight. You just you just come to the embassy and they'll take care of your air travel. And even like when if you feel like visiting your country, they can even give you an allowance for that and all of those things. But US does not have that. No. US wants you to make the effort to come down to the US. Then now you're serious. Now let's start talking money, which sometimes can pose a lot of anxiety, financial anxiety, students from non-privileged background. Because air travel is expensive. That's like the first time some people travel by flight in their life. Where do they get the money from? So that's why you see some people like crowdsourcing funds to pay for their flight ticket to the US. Besides that, there's even like a lot of money to be paid for visa, to get your visa registered, and then visa interview, etc. So all of those things together kind of puts US at a disadvantage. But as soon as you cross that border, that's it. You're very good. You're in good hands now in the US. So that's number one thing I think people would like to know about scholarship opportunity.